Hey, what is going on, everyone? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today. I am your co-host of the MRB Wrestling Review Show, Mike McRock Wilson, and we just saw WWE Friday Night SmackDown. The show kicked off last night when Alberto Del Rio came out and he chose his own opponent for SummerSlam. And it was Ricardo Rodriguez. I like that because Alberto Del Rio would choose a guy that wouldn't put up a fight, who's not a real wrestler, who's like a manager or an announcer, etc., and would think that he would just lay down and not put up much of a fight. I like that because it is the heel thing to do for Alberto Del Rio, and just to generate all that heat. And the way he cut his promo last night was absolutely brilliant. He's a guy that knows how to generate heat. Well, I did just say that. Anyway, just shortly after, Vicky Guerrero came out and said that she expected better from Alberto Del Rio, which is interesting because you have a heel authority figure on the case of a heel champion. In this case, the world champ, Alberto Del Rio, which is interesting because usually you see the heel authority figure on the case of a babyface or the top face, and vice versa. And with that being said, that was kind of a fresh element that was brought to the table on this first segment of SmackDown. So, it was nice, cool, fresh. It was really interesting because after, Brad Maddox came out backstage and was also on the case of Alberto Del Rio, as well. And with all that being said, what happened was that Vicky Guerrero decided that 3 superstars will compete in a number 1 contenders match to face Alberto Del Rio for the world title at SummerSlam. It's either going to be Randy Orton, Christian, or Rob Van Dam. And I like it because these 3 guys, have a little history with Alberto Del Rio in the past. And 2 of those guys won non-title matches. And one kind of got, the teaser match and kind of got thrown off guard. So, this is one of those matches that was kind of hard to predict. But the way it was executed, it was well done. And I will get to the winner of that match later on and my thoughts about the world title match at SummerSlam. Also last night, Jack Swagger went one-on-one with Cody Rhodes. And I like the little things Cody Rhodes does, in the ring. I like that he dropped the microphone on Zeb Coulter because, it's just one of those things, the fans sometimes get sick and tired of, Zeb Coulter speaking the harsh truth, etc., So Cody Rhodes just dropped the microphone on Zeb Coulter, and he got that little pop, not a little pop, but a cool pop from the audience. So the little things Cody Rhodes has been doing over the past couple of weeks have been really good on Raw and SmackDown, and it just goes to show, this guy could really legitimately become a Money in the Bank briefcase holder if indeed he does face Damian Sandow at SummerSlam with that briefcase on the line. But see, here's the interesting thing as well. The briefcase physically is not there. Damian Sandow could have at least had the piece of paper in hand and cash it in. As simple as that. And I've mentioned that before, so this is going to be an interesting dynamic between Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes going into SummerSlam. If that does happen, there's no official word yet on that happening, but it is every single thing that has happened on Raw and SmackDown has been foreshadowing that match and that stipulation. Also last night, Sin Cara went one-on-one with Big E Langston, and could you please just stop the blue and purple lighting, please? It's just not a match for Sin Cara benefits from, because that's the only time you can actually use that kind of lighting. So just please, when Sin Cara is not the one benefiting from a match, just leave it at normal lights, please. And with all that being said, what I like about the the Big E Langston in the Sin Cara match was that not only Big E Langston got the victory over Sin Cara, but I like the back and forth cinematography with going to Big E, going to Dolph Ziggler backstage, watching it on television and getting his reaction, and they kind of go back and forth with that and Big E Langston in the ring. So at least there's not a physical interaction, but at least there's some sort of reaction that has occurred on SmackDown, and sometimes less is more. And there's always, a balance as well. I mean, you see Big E Langston and Dolph Ziggler get physical in the past, so why not have a interaction between them, but not in front of each other? So I like that little genius on the part on SmackDown on tonight. Not only that, when I say less is more and perfect execution, the video package of the Wyatt family was absolutely incredible, and these guys in the truck that make these videos really don't get enough credit for making these compilation videos of superstars and etc., such as the Wyatt family, from what they've done since they debuted till now. Absolutely amazing from the guys in the truck. They know how to put a video package together extremely well, and they just don't get enough credit, and I don't like that. But at least that the guys in the truck make these videos that don't get enough credit, you almost kind of want to leave it that way for some weird reason. I don't know what it is, but it's just one of those things that's unexplainable. Also last night, CM Punk! It's clobbering time! Went one-on-one with Fandango on SmackDown. What I like about this match is that the execution of the finish, and a lot of that happened on SmackDown last night. Good execution finishes, and I'll get to them later on. But what I really enjoyed about that CM Punk and Fandango match, the little things, the somersault in the first half of the match, and as well as Summer Rae, just the little things she's doing at ringside, doing a little twirl dance, you see, and so she's kind of like being a little theatrical as well. So I like the little things Summer Rae was doing throughout that match, and the match itself was absolutely incredible. Those two guys know how to work well together, and I don't know if this is the first time they ever went one-on-one. Maybe, they had some sort of dark match in the past, I don't know, but I really enjoyed those two working well together because, CM Punk is a guy that's up here and he's trying to help Fandango to reach that next level because he's in a spot now where he's kind of stuck. I don't know if he's going to go more down or more up, but I think what happened on SmackDown is that CM Punk is trying to get Fandango to that next level, and in the same time, I like that this match happened on SmackDown instead of Raw, because when Monday comes, you could build more hype to the Brock Lesnar and CM Punk match. Hopefully a last man standing match. Sure. I don't know if it may happen or not. I don't know if that will be the direction the WWE will go. But I think it's just one of those things that could happen later on. And not necessarily at SummerSlam. So they still they can always leave that open until a later date. So it was good on SmackDown that they had this match, as opposed to Raw, for that reason. Also last night, AJ Lee went one-on-one with Caitlyn for the Divas Championship. What's interesting is that at this point in time, Caitlyn is not the diva that should be competing for the title. But for some reason, I'm going to take that back just because of what happened at the end result of that match. And I'll tell you why. But before I get to that, Caitlyn's promo backstage kind of fell flat a little. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's a not half bad decent talker. It's just that when she speaks, she kind of has, a little bit of trouble finding her words in between her sentences. So with that being said, it did fall a little flat, but at least Caitlyn got her point across. And with Layla there praising Caitlyn, it almost seemed like she was a little too happy, even before she hugged her. And when she did, that reaction on her face, she was a little too happy as well. And sometimes you gotta wonder, yeah, this is going to be a little bit predictable. But sometimes predictability is usually good when it's executed right. And that's just what happened at that Divas Championship match. I thought it was an excellent execution of the finish, because just before the match ended, you see Kaitlyn and AJ, outside the ring. Kaitlyn is about to spear AJ until Layla goes right in the middle and just stops Kaitlyn from spearing AJ. And she's like, "What? Why are you doing this? Get out of the way!" And so, she's like, confused on that. But you could tell on Layla's face, remember, when you sell on a wrestling program, it's always in the face. And I love Layla's expression, not only when she lost the match, but when she kind of put herself in the middle between AJ and Kaitlyn. It's almost like I kind of want to go back to my original self when I was with Lay Cool. And that was the end result. Kaitlyn got the submission victory over Kaitlyn. Shortly after that, blocking outside the ring. So that was a good execution, and sometimes less is more. You don't always need a physical interference when you cost someone a match. So just the simple idea of someone blocking someone was really good, to say the least. And not only did that come out very well, I think this is one of those things, hopefully, and I say hopefully, that the audience could get behind more with Kaitlyn, because, we know the history between Kaitlyn and AJ, and now that Layla has turned on Kaitlyn, it's like what Kaitlyn said backstage, with the shoot me once or shoot me twice, shoot me 3 times now, etc., etc. I think this is one of those things that the fans will get behind more with Kaitlyn, and that will probably make her a suitable contender for the Divas Championship in the near future. So I like that backstabbing. Sometimes good backstabbing equals excellent execution. So, and there's also hope for the Divas division. So, with that being said, I love what happened with the Divas on SmackDown. In the main event, it was Randy Orton, Rob Van Dam, and Christian. The winner becomes the number 1 contender to the World Heavyweight Champion, Alberto Del Rio, at SummerSlam. What I like that was a excellent triple threat match. I don't care what anyone says, perfectly well done. And I like that, this is a number 1 contenders match to bring importance to the world title, so it had to cover at least 30 minutes of the show, and it done just that. That just shows how important the World Heavyweight Championship is at SummerSlam, and I think right now, SummerSlam looking good. We already got the Brock Lesnar CM Punk match, we already knew that. We got the John Cena Daniel Bryan match, we already knew that. And foreshadowing matches between other competitors such as Dolph Ziggler, Big E Langston, Damian Sandow, and Cody Rhodes. And now we have Alberto Del Rio going one-on-one with the winner of the match, Christian. And the stuff that happened throughout that wrestling match was just absolutely gorgeous, brilliant, spectacular, amazing. That frog splash, excellent hang time on Rob Van Dam. But the one thing that stood out in my mind, and I can keep going back to it more and more and more and just think, oh my god, that was incredible. The Rolling Thunder countered to the Power Slam. Oh, that was impressive. Beautiful. Well done. Execution. Not only that match, but every little thing that happened in that match, such as those things that I just mentioned. And with that being said, with Christian being the number one contender to Alberto Del Rio's World Heavyweight Championship, you can see that little history because they got one guy in common. Edge. Edge's last match was for the World Heavyweight Championship against Alberto Del Rio, and Edge is Christian's best friend. So they got a common guy that they could probably put in the storyline somehow, but not in the storyline. You know what I mean? So with all that being said, I love this idea. And I think this is a match that could potentially steal the show at SummerSlam. And all I gotta say is SummerSlam is shaping up to be what I think, probably, hopefully, the greatest SummerSlam in the past years it has been on. And that was my review of Friday Night SmackDown. I'm your co-host for the MRB Wrestling Review Show, Mike Big Rock Wilson. And to all you viewers watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.